Hi, I'm Heather Holmes, CEO and founder of TapGenes. I'm really excited that you're here today for the first of our series on how to get started with TapGenes and the importance of family health history. In today's session, our first session, you'll learn more about why family health history is so important and what are the first steps that you can take to start capturing and preserving your family's health history within TapGenes. So to get started, I'd like to share with you our mission. And our mission is to help families understand their shared health risks and how they can plan today to protect tomorrow by using this information. Because really the key to staying healthy lies deep in your roots. And that means understanding your health patterns in your family and using that information so that you can get to the right preventative screenings and to make the early decisions about your health and well-being. And I'd love to share with you this story. This is a typical family portrait together, but the reason why I'm sharing this with you is to help you understand why family health history matters. So up in the top right corner, you see a little blonde girl. That little blonde girl is actually Angelina Jolie when she was a toddler. And I'm sure that you're familiar with Angelina's story of how she found out that she carried the BRCA gene and then how she decided to go ahead and have a mastectomy, double mastectomy, and then later have her ovaries removed. Even though she didn't have cancer, she carried the gene, but she decided to go do that to what she believed to help lower her risk. But what most people don't realize was it wasn't that she just got a genetic test that told her that she carried the gene. She had some other important information. And that information was that she knew that almost every other one of her adult blood relatives, many of whom you see in this photograph, that they had died from cancer, and they had died from cancers that were interconnected. And it wasn't just that they had died from cancer, many of them died at a young age. So Angelina knew that not only she carried the same gene that had affected some of her other loved ones, but that she knew that this cancer was very aggressive in her family and that it often would take people at a young age. So the combination of information helped her be able to decide that she wanted to take a more aggressive approach. And that's really what we are trying to help you do, is have the right information available so that if you need to make decisions, you have that information on hand for all of your loved ones. And that's because if you don't have this information, you are losing precious time. And we don't want anybody to be in that situation. Here are three of the common cancers in the U.S.: lung cancer, colon cancer, and cervical cancer. And the difference between getting diagnosed early and getting diagnosed late and your outcome, your survival rate is incredibly dramatic. I mean, in early stage diagnosis here, you see the success rate is incredibly high versus that late stage diagnosis. So if you already have the clues in your family, why wouldn't you want to use that or share that with your loved ones to help protect them? That's what we're trying to do, and that's what we're trying to do to help you be able to help your loved ones. So people often ask, well, isn't this in my medical records? And unfortunately, the answer is probably not. So while family health history is considered one of the strongest predictors of disease risk and considered the original genetic test, this information is missing from 96% of medical records. So if you think about it, every time you go to the doctor, you're asked to fill out those forms that asks you about who had a different condition in the family. And most of us, as we're filling that out, if we're being honest, we probably don't really know. We probably don't really know all that information. And so if you don't know, or if you're not sure, how is your doctor supposed to know to get you that right screening? And as far as it being missing from within the medical records, also that's a problem with how medical records capture this information and how it's stored. And obviously your medical record isn't connected with your loved ones, so that information is just a big void. And so what we want to do is give you those tools so you have this information so that you can have those conversations with your doctor. And the reason why is family health history is looking at a few different things. So we all know that genetics and your genes are very important, and that gets passed through your family. And while you are not able to modify those genes, you are able to influence whether or not those genes are turning on or off for many conditions. And the reason why, and as I'll explain here, is that there's more going into your health than just your genes. Families share behaviors, families share environment, and those are the triggers that can help your genes turn on or off. So basically, what family health history is looking at is that we know that you share genes with your family members, and since you always also share similar behaviors and environment, this is an opportunity to see how those shared things are being triggered in other family members. So really, it's looking at those three things, and that's what family health history is. And then by understanding those things, it's also an opportunity for making changes. And so what TapGenes is trying to do is help you, like we like to say, understand that common thread that ties your family together from one generation to the next, and bring this whole picture together into light. And we do that by helping families crowdsource their health history, help them understand risks, and to take action so that they can live longer and healthier together. And when I say crowdsourcing, what I mean by that is that TapGenes is designed so that you are starting with TapGenes today, but that you're able to share TapGenes with your other family members, and everyone's able to contribute a little bit about what they know. And for those who know more about other family members or maybe grandparents or great grandparents who are no longer here, they're able to really kind of put more color around your family's story that way. So everybody's able to contribute, and that's what crowdsourcing means. So how to get started, how to start collecting your family health history. Well, TapGenes is designed to take you through a guided tour and ask you about some of those most common health conditions to get started, and you can go through that guided process to get started. But people often say, well, I want to be able to get more information, or maybe I don't know all the information. And the best place to start is to talk to your family. This is the number way to collect this information, and there's so many opportunities to do this, whether it's at the holidays or during reunions, from weddings and catching up there, or if someone in the family is thinking of starting their own family with having a new baby, or other family gatherings. There's many opportunities to get updates on people and be able to then update that within TapGenes. So just use all those opportunities when people are together to talk to them about this and update your TapGenes family health tree. To get started, as I said, you can go directly into TapGenes and take our guided tour. We'll ask you a series of questions about the most common health conditions in your family. And then you can always go back in and update that later, or retake that onboarding and then add more conditions from there. But some people want to be able to have a paper-based way to also remember when they're asking family members about their health what to do. So we've created a paper-based form that you can really easily check off things for each person, and then when you go into TapGenes, add that information that way, or use a journal or whatever your favorite way. It doesn't matter how you start, just as long as you get started, and to be able to go from there. We'll be showing you a demo at the end of this presentation about how you get started within TapGenes adding this information. And as we say, this is something that is an ongoing process that you're going to be able to continue to do over time. For starters, we recommend that you start by adding information and capturing information for yourself and your parents and siblings and children, and then grandparents, half-siblings, aunts, uncles, grandchildren, all of that. First and second degree relatives is what we encourage you to start with. And you could pick a few people and then add more people over time. But, that's really a good starting point. You, within TapGenes, are able to go as far wide or as many generations back as you would choose. But for getting started, we really encourage you to add those initial family relationships. So the type of information that is important for getting started are things like your names, people's names, their date of birth, any health problems, and at the age when they were diagnosed with that health condition, if that's known, because that really makes a difference in when people should be getting screened. So, for some conditions, that's a really critical piece of information to have. age and cause of death, any kind of relevant lifestyle habits, ethnicity, things like that. And then, of course, pictures, because within TapGenes you can add a picture for each family member so that you can really have a very beautiful family tree to look at. So these are some of the initial information that we recommend you capture that are part of our, part of that checklist that you'll be receiving at the end of this class. And then if you really want to get creative, or if you have family members who are maybe passed away and you don't have a lot of information, this is where it can get fun, really fun, where you can go and start searching for clues. So there's tons of clues about your family's health that you can find in genealogical records, from death and birth certificates, funeral home records, obituaries, the U.S. Census. You'd be amazed at all the places that you can find little bits of clues of information about your family's health, and then to be able to capture it and save it in TapGenes. Another thing that's not too far out in the distance is also a loved one's hospital or insurance forms. And so if they've passed away, it's really important, and I really want you to understand this, is that hospitals do not have to hold those medical records for life. There is, depending on the state, they are required to keep it for only a certain amount of years. So the clock is ticking after someone passes away before they will destroy all those records, and all that information will be lost. So if you have a loved one who has passed away recently, I strongly encourage you to go out there and request those records so your family has them in case there's information in there that is needed for another loved one. And within the handouts we'll be sharing with you, we have information so you can see how long your state is required to keep records and what to do to request those records. And so as you're going through, and if you're digging around in genealogical records, what you'll find is often there's a lot of old medical terms that you're not going to know what that means. And so the terminology often has changed and updated, but there are resources there outside that can help you decipher what that means. So we have included a list of links here below that's also in the handout that you'll be receiving, where you can go and decipher what those names mean. And if you're really stumped, you can reach out to us and ask, and we can try and help you as well. So just be aware that if you might see some funny things you've never heard of before, and that there are resources out there that can help you. So when we're talking about health, sometimes people wonder, why should I be talking about this with my family? Like, maybe it will be a little uncomfortable. But I wanted to show you some research really quickly that just talks about and shows that this is something that's top of mind for everyone. And people are often very concerned about, what does this mean to my family? What does this mean to our own financial security if somebody developed a serious health condition? So by opening this door and starting the conversation, you're really helping your family put people's minds at ease, and helping everybody be able to start understanding, what are the risks and what can we do so that we can try and minimize any concerns about a serious health condition. And so TapGenes will really help you in capturing and talking about family health history, will really help the family together understand those health concerns, and really help family members get to that early detection or preventative screenings once you start to understand these patterns within the family, and to be able to make more informed decisions, all of which can help really protect your family's health for a longer time, and be able to kind of help you plan better from a financial perspective. So to get the conversation started, we have a series of questions here. Don't worry, you don't need to write all these down right now. We have them included in our handouts for you at the end. But just wanted to give you some ideas on what you can do to sort of start the conversation with loved ones. And along with that is to remember the FACE technique. And the FACE technique is, we go into more details on our website, but really it's about how to best approach a family member and start these conversations. And so letting them know that this is really important, how to frame conversations, how to, really capture that information, and then how to help the family expand it from there. So for more information about the FACE technique, we will, like I said, include that in the handouts you'll see at the end of this. So now that you've started, and now that you've started capturing and gathering this information, you can organize and securely store it within TapGenes, and then you're able to share that with your family members so everybody can have access to the information if you choose. You don't have to choose to share it with your family members, but we really believe and encourage you to do that because this is information that could help save another person in your family's life. Within TapGenes, you're also able to share this information with your doctors. We have a printable report that gives them the most important information. You're also able to give them access online to TapGenes, but we would encourage you to use the printable report just because it's easier for you to be able to sit down and have that conversation with them right there when you're giving them a more simplified report there for them to discuss with you. And then this is something that's really important as a grandparent or a parent that you can do to pass on to your children so that they have the information, they aren't having to search for clues, and that they can really know what to look out for within their own health and their loved ones. And then also remember that this is something that changes constantly. Health changes for all of us, so keep it updated. So whether that's remembering that you want to do your updates quarterly or annually on your birthday, but these are things that you want to be able to keep updating and as you have different events with family members to update over time. Remember, this is not something you just do all in one setting. This is something that you build on. Now, when it comes to doctors, when you take them that printable report or talking, what this is going to do is allow them to help determine your risk for certain diseases. What we do is help them understand and help you understand which conditions are which conditions you might be at higher risk because we've seen the pattern within your family. And then from there, your doctor can talk with you about recommended screening tests or recommended lifestyle changes based on those risks. And together, you guys can make treatment decisions, whether that's about medications or about how aggressive you want to be with a treatment based on what you now know from your family. So it really helps you have that full, empowering conversation with your doctor. I'm now going to hand this webinar over to my teammate Diana Massey, and she's going to show you how to get started with TapGenes and give you a demo of what to expect when you first are going into the platform, the steps to take, and to get you going from there. So here you go, Diana. Thanks, Diana. And thank you all for joining us today for our first Getting Started session with TapGenes and the importance of family health history. We hope you learned a bit about why this matters to you and your loved ones and are ready to get going with your own TapGenes account. As Diana mentioned, please feel free to reach out to us at any time over email or over online chat. We're here to help you and also welcome any feedback or suggestions. And as we shared, this is just the first step of our series on how to best use TapGenes for you and your family's health. So we strongly encourage you to sign up for the other parts of this series and learn along with us as to how to make this the most useful platform for you and your loved ones. So thank you once again and look forward to seeing you on our next series.